Hello everyone and welcome back to Cities by Steven. You're talking to Steven. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button. Get that bell notification on too, so you don't miss out on the next episode of Fort Prairie, an Alberta themed city. Welcome back to the city where last episode we built up the historic fort of Fort Prairie. Perhaps I was a fur trading post that at one point turned into a RCMP academy. And now it is a historical site about the area of, where we're building. So today's episode, I was originally planning on doing just a big network planning episode. But I think we're going to need to do a couple things before we can get to that. So perhaps that'll be either Wednesday or Friday's episode where we'll make the big infrastructure developments. But I think we can get some rough planning going today as we kind of build up the funds we need to do that. So in order to get some of those funds, we're going to look at expanding our residential capacity in the city, maybe even starting an industry today. And so let's hop out and kind of talk about it a little bit. So last episode, we left off right over here. Now I did make some changes to Fort Prairie. So Fort Prairie is built using the tax office asset. Looks a lot like a colonial building that could be used in this setting. So I was looking at some examples. Then we have some old barracks over here, the foundations of maybe the old stables or barracks themselves. So I did find this cemetery asset. I was looking for it during the episode, but I couldn't really find out exactly where it was. So I got that in place. I think I switched out the church as well. I got a comment about what are the walls. Well, perhaps they were old fortifications that are since left over. And I've done a couple things to help spruce up the land value as well. And I added in these turrets as well in some strategic spots where, perhaps it was once overlooks. So what did I do to help the land value out? Well, I added in a dog park over here because we needed it. And then we also were running into some garbage issues, so I just placed this down in here within like a bit of a service area. What's in store for today? Well, I'm thinking of looking at developing up this area right in here specifically with housing, commercial, mainly because it's going to stick with the theme of what we did last time. And I've been looking at some examples of how cities of this theme, this setting, kind of are incorporated in modern day cities. So we'll look at that, and this is going to be important for these roads over here because I also want to start looking at how we're going to connect up our highway into the larger network, because I really want to get a highway connection over here. So this highway connection is going to have to come in this way into the city, because we're going to build our airport out over here eventually, and it just makes sense to have a nice direct connection at some point, perhaps that kind of connects up like this. So finding those exact connection points across the rivers is something that I'm going to be really particular with, and then also bringing in the rail line as well. That's kind of like the main goals for this week's episodes, is I want to really figure this out, and we're going to be doing much stuff in between, like an ore industry maybe, I think is what we may start. And that's going to involve another interchange over here, and perhaps another one over on this side. And then this will also kind of open up future developments in this area, along this island as well. So, lots in store. But without further ado, let's hop out and look at our funds, because, I haven't really raised taxes that much in this game at all. We're running into some issues now because I want to start doing some of these massive infrastructure projects, and we don't have the funds. So I think I'm just going to bump up taxes 1%. And over here as well. I don't think we have many offices, or it's not even going to be really worth raising taxes over there. So let's just raise what we've done through here. It looks like we already raised residential at one point. And it looks like we're going to start accruing some funds. So hopefully over the course of today's episode, we'll generate that income. So let's start off with looking at how the town is going to evolve from right in here. And the first step I'm going to do is continue the theme that we have going on of residential housing along Prairie Road, or I think Lilac Street. This is just going to help kind of continue the theme of these old houses in this area, and then we'll stop it right here. And just in order to accommodate that, let's just get rid of the trees right on the edge here. It's going to help with game FPS and stuff like that, because the trees don't actually get destroyed when houses get built up over top of them. Oh no, I'm using our Ontario theme. No, I gotta change it to the Alberta theme brush. There we go. So just to kind of square out the houses here. Yeah, all right, so how is this gonna connect up? Well, cities of this theme set in Alberta are very grid oriented. They're basically mass planned. So we're gonna kind of stick with that theme. Let's just use the roads that we have going on over here. And this one is a street that's become a major avenue here. So I think what's gonna happen is this one's gonna have to be connected up fairly straightforward. But I don't like the idea of connecting directly on Lilac Street here. Lilac Street is going to be one of the older streets in the area. As you see, we've already kind of continued it through here. It's going to bridge across over on this side. But this one I think we can connect up directly, mainly because if we connect this one up directly, it's going to kind of mess with some things that we've already got going on. So I think we're going to use whatever this street, Leighton Street. That's a good Canadian themed name, actually. Yeah, so we won't worry about the grading right now, but let's go say perhaps, I don't want to connect up to this one directly, because again, that doesn't really make sense to connect up for the grid. But knowing that this was the original center that's since been redeveloped, I assume that this was at one point like large fields and stuff for the horse training and stuff like that, but since that no longer exists, they've created like a center for the museum and stuff like that. I do plan on putting a museum in here eventually when we do unlock it. So perhaps what we can do is even just delete this connection point and just drag this one out a little bit farther. And then if we just clean that up, and then we'll clean up the rest of it. Just with move it, it's pretty simple. Maybe we can get that connection point right off of this curve. So we'll just bring this one in. And then maybe this will work out. Whoops. Turn anarchy on. It's always helpful. Yeah, so we come right off of here. I think this will give us a nice kind of buffer road here for the kind of main old street here, and maybe we can make this a bit of like a park or something, and then this can be kind of like the frontage for where the city is going to kind of really be. So let's just clean this up a little bit. So looks like this is a good height. Oop, I thought I clicked this one. There we go. That's pretty good. Yeah, and then we'll have to upgrade this road right here as well, just to make it look a little bit nicer. And you know what? I think we're gonna have to swing this out even farther so we get a nicer connection point. Yeah, I kind of like this. This kind of gives us a bit of a a buffer between this area over here too. Perhaps when the museum was rebuilt, they had to redo the road a little bit or something like that. But I don't like how that's connecting up, so we will switch that. We'll just make this one come straight out momentarily. And then we'll curve it back in. Oh, let's use the perfect curve tool. Yeah, and then that'll just meander off, which I believe we said was following a contour line, which will be nice because it'll connect up into the campus area. All right. So then we can connect this street up, no problem. So, oh no, it's not perfect. That's gonna really bug me. So we'll build off of this one instead. Oh no. It frustrates me when they don't connect up perfectly, especially when this is gonna become a major zoned area. Okay, we're gonna have to just redo a little bit of this. All right, so I don't mind this little corner being a little bit off. Same thing with this one. We can readjust this, no problem. It's the rest of it that's going to really bug me. And, you know, the reasoning behind that is because when we're going to be zoning in here, I really am looking forward to having like very clean, buildings and grids, especially with this being the downtown kind of thing. So, yeah. Just have to reconnect this part. That's no problem. Okay, so looks like we have some cool connection points through here. And might as well upgrade the rest of these roads too, because this is going to really start to get built up. All right. Wow, wow, wow. This is a weird kind of area that we're building on, isn't it? The heights seem very off. Okay, so yeah, I like this. I think this is going to allow us to have a good connection into the city park as well, eventually, when we build it, whatever that's going to be. But what's going on with this road over here, Layton Street? So it looks like we're kind of coming up on a hill here. So why don't we, since this is going to be the downtown, let's just smooth out a lot of this. It's going to make planning the roads a little bit easier, and I'm going to not get as distracted as much by all the nonsense going on. Okay, so we are building on a hill. Like, this is going to be a fun little development here. So I know we've been building out Greenberg lately, and that is not obviously going to stop. Well, this is going to all integrate into the city, but this kind of block right in here is going to be very interesting for how it's going to develop and integrate into the downtown. Now, I know I've expressed this before, but we have a ton of new viewers on the channel, so welcome. But this is not going to be a large city. This is going to be a relatively small city in the grand scheme of things. When it comes to the tall buildings, I suspect that a majority of them are going to be in this area alone. Perhaps, you know, getting to towards the campus as well. But not a ton. Okay, so let's kind of go with this theme. Like, if you're thinking about example cities that I'm kind of going off of, Calgary is a big one that I'm looking at. Same with Edmonton. So we'll connect up right in here, just like that. So we have a really long grid here, and that is perfect. So we're using 6th width as well. Okay, this is gonna bug me, so we're gonna have to move this so that it is actually in line. And if these grids are all messed up a little bit just in this one section, I'm going to be okay with that. Okay, so let's get another one. And we'll stick with this theme. So, from my understanding of how cities like Edmonton and Calgary were built up, the reason that the grid is like this is because when the fort was built, it was the only thing around in a colonial settler sense. So when the companies were starting to get settlers outside of them, because people were living here and wanting to settle down here, what was happening is people were setting up their houses right outside of the gates of the fort or something like that. And I do think this is actually a pretty large fort in relative example to Fort Calgary and Fort Edmonton and other similar forts. And that's okay. But when they started regulating the area outside of it, they just kind of did these long grids. And I think a lot of it is to do with the railway as well. But I'm not going to dive into the railway today. Okay, so now that we got these first kind of grids marked out, what's next is kind of like a larger grid. And I'm not going to plan this all out because I'm going to focus on this little section today, and then we'll start looking at the rest of it later on. But I think we can continue this one all the way up into here. And I think that's going to come into play relatively soon, actually. So let's connect this one up right into here. Then we can continue this. And I think this one we can bring across. We'll just upgrade this road and we'll leave this one. And then I think we can probably leave that as well. I was thinking about maybe we could connect this up like that, but I suppose we can leave it. So what's the interior grid going to be in here, right? Well, I think we'll have to be using this street as a bit of a main road here. And I guess it makes sense to use the street. What's the street's name? Terry Cooper? No way, really? I think it just got renamed, actually. And I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to try to create this larger rectangular grid. So if there's a road down in here that we can connect into, there isn't. Okay, that's really good. So I'm not going to really mess with anything too much. So we can kind of just create something of our own. So we were using a 6 square grid here. So why don't we go with a bit of like a 12 length grid? So that's 8, another 4, that's 12, I think. Yeah, okay. So we'll come out into here. We'll bring this road all the way down as far as we can. Nice. So it looks like we're kind of cutting again. That's fine. Then we'll connect this one up right into here. And we can connect that up. No problem. So we'll do the same thing off of here again. So that's pretty simple. Just leave 4 in the middle. And then how is this going to look when it connects up? Yeah, no problem. And then we'll do another one. That is 4. Yeah, okay. And, you know, with this older road down in here, things have obviously changed their grid pattern, and that's okay. Although, we can actually move this one. It's not set in stone exactly. And that way we could actually, you know, make sure that it's exactly uniform. And I am very keen on that, seeing as we're making a city that is extremely gridded. Okay, so we're going to be right here. I actually think I might delete a lot of the roads we've actually just built, and that's okay. Oh, maybe we can connect this up right into here instead. You know, a lot of this I just kind of play test in my mind, and I just go over right before we actually kind of get started. Oh, I like that. Kind of gives a nice lend to like a residential development over here. Maybe we can even bring a road down on this side. I mean, we don't actually need this here anymore though, because we've changed the grid to 12. Should be right in here. And we'll just have to scooch this down a little bit, and that's okay. All right, so we'll do that. Yeah, so I know this one we're gonna keep, but the other ones we may need to break a little bit. So I think what we'll do is we'll try to break them at some point. This seems to be like the closest distance right here. So why don't we, whoa, that's not centered. Let's go right off of here. We'll connect this up right in here. And we'll leave this as a bit of a break here. And where is this gonna go? It's gonna come right across and reconnect up with Prairie Road, or whatever this is called. I thought it was called Prairie Road to begin with. So I'll delete what we just did. I know we were just talking about saving money and stuff, but sometimes it just takes a few instances to plan things out. I think we can leave this one as well. I think that's gonna be good for us. Yeah, so you know, a really tight grid is something that you traditionally see in these older cities, and then they typically get a little bit larger as it goes on. So when was this grid probably built? You know, if we're going off of the theme of Calgary, we're looking closer to the 1890s to 1900s. Alberta wasn't a province until 1905. Same with Saskatchewan. So yeah, so let's prioritize newer roads. Oh, sorry, older roads is what I was. Oh, no. Yeah, there we go. Did I just switch it? I did just switch it. Okay. There we go. I'm messing up the zoning, aren't I? I'm just gonna stop. There we go. All right, we're good. Yeah, so the original grid. Oh no, this is off. It's gonna bug me, guys. I'm sorry. The original grid was a lot tighter, and then it starts expanding outwards as the city grows up. You know, cars become a much more influential piece of history out here. The history of the prairies in Canada is not so much different than the history of the prairies out in America. I'm tempted to connect that up, but I won't. Okay, so let's get some housing in here. So what I'm thinking of is actually some low density housing, like an older neighborhood. We'll use this kind of street here as a bit of a commercial center. And then when we're looking at the city as a whole, we'll have the low density commercial in here, the older area of the city. Maybe we'll have some gentrification kind of happening in this area. And then we'll be looking at, some medium density in this block right in here. And then the downtown of it's going to pop up right in here where we're going to have the highway connect up, probably curving in like this or something like this. Probably towards the island, I think. Yeah, so the medium density is going to be kind of fitting in here. I think that's going to go with the theme of this because if we're saying this is a, modern city, what's going to really kind of have happened is the city would have been pretty small here. We would have had Fort Prairie, we would have had Prairie Station, and then, there's maybe an oil boom or something like that. This area would get the offices developed up because of the highway that was built out here. It's closer to the highway, much more drivable, and then everything else in between is kind of filled up. So this area would have definitely stayed as a, residential area. So we'll get some commercial right in here. Don't really mind this at all. I don't think we'll get any right in there. And then right down in here, we'll get some commercial. And, this is going to really help with the taxes and stuff too, which is going to be great. You know what? I actually don't mind all the weirdness right now, because I think it could lend for some interesting houses. Kind of thinking about it. Why not? Let's just see what kind of happens here. Looks like some funky things are happening anyways. Alright, so I like leaving a little bit of a gap. Just to kind of split some things. It also gives us an opportunity to expand the road should we need to, which I think we'll probably need to eventually. Let's take houses off of that. We'll bring housing right into here. Bump this into a bit of commercial right there. And then we can get some housing over here in the future as well. So I think that's a good little start here. So we're going to need to start thinking about some other things to go in here. But I do want to kind of just let this grow and look at our demands really quickly, because we do have some industry demands. And this is something I do want to get started. I want to plan the ore industry out a little bit. Maybe the oil as well. We are talking about an oil boom as being the catalyst for the reason the city was, skyrocketed, upwards in this area. But maybe it's a good idea to get some city services in here as well. And I think it probably is. So I'm not going to worry about transit too much yet. That's going to be in a later episode. But why don't we get some healthcare and some fire and stuff like that in here as well. So I'm just focusing on the older part, and this is why I'm stopping right here. But it doesn't mean we can't get services. So let's go with this one right here. I'll place this right down here on Layton Street. We'll just center it so it's just this building. We are on a hill here. Something to note. Cemetery, we're actually probably going to be good because I think this acts as a cemetery. We're going to need a water in here, of course. Why don't we utilize this area right here for a bit of a church and cemetery. So, you know, it's an older settler area, so I suspect that the churches or the places of worship in here are probably going to be of a similar sect as what's going on in the fort. So, you know, probably very Anglican or Protestant at this time. Okay, so yeah, I think that's probably good. We are on a bit of a hill here. I think I might need to just change this a little bit. So I'm just going to lower this ever so slightly. And then we'll grab this one, set it to the same height. Oh, you know what? I actually don't mind that. It's probably better that it's at the same height as the cemetery anyways. And we'll just kind of shoot up here a little bit. That's cool. Okay, so that's good. And let's get the water in. And that does actually act as a bit of education as well, that asset that I got from the workshop. Okay, and we'll just bring another one across here for now. That should be good. I don't think we need to worry about water at the moment, which is nice. Okay, so that's education, healthcare, death care, we got sorted out. Fire. So I'm thinking like an old fire hall would be probably pretty central. So why don't we get that? I could actually work off of this street here. Didn't we say at one point that we're gonna get a road on this side, and we didn't? So why don't we bring this right across? Yeah, this is going to be a little difficult here. So I'm just going to bring this right through, and then I'm going to pause the game here. I'm going to delete that, and then we'll just connect this up. Yeah, so why don't we make this a bit of a services area? And then I was thinking maybe we could get an older bridge across here, but this is pretty far for an older bridge. So why don't we just make it a bit of a services area for now? We can always move it, you know, no big deal. But let's get an older one right in here, and then let's get a newer fire hall right in here in this kind of rejuvenated services area. Police, so we're gonna get the old police station. Now I guess there probably wouldn't be, because when this town was built up, the RCMP office was right there, so we're probably fine. Although in the like kind of thinking about the game, maybe we need a modern police station now. That would make sense, and we can get that right here. All right, and education is going to be something we need. So we actually have a elementary school in the in Fort Prairie. So, you know, I think we're probably good to just ignore that for now. And transit, we said we're good. So just for the time being. So we'll let that go. And, you know, that's a good start. I'm pleased with this. I like how this area is looking too. These buildings are a bit modern, but perhaps they're yeah, I mean, we could go with like a European theme maybe, but I'm not a fan of how I don't want them to look like this in this area. So yeah, this is probably good. We'll get some mixing in of some high density eventually, but let's just let this kind of sim up a little bit, and we'll get our first interchange going over along here, and we'll start our ore industry where we can make some more money, and that money's going to go right into new infrastructure projects like the airport interchange. You know, I think it's about time we get some ore industry going. And why is that in particular something that we need to get going? Well, we have some unique factories over here, and this is one I want to get in. We need glass production, the lemonade factory. The clothing factory is something that I'm also interested in, but I don't think I want to do the oil yet. We definitely need paper for this one as well. So in the long run, I think it's best that we get both going soon. But why not start with the ore industry, because it's closest anyways. So we have a couple issues over here. So just to be honest with you all, I have manipulated the resources a little bit. I brought the ore onto this side because I'm not exactly sure where I want the majority of our ore extraction to be yet. I believe what I want to do is set this part up as a nature reserve. So why don't we kind of just mark that off. And it'll be kind of like an extension of green couple dome trails. Sunset Hill, that's nice. And then, you know, over here is a really nice area. Perhaps this is also like a city park as well. So I like how this kind of has a bit of a bay. And then right in here is like a really nice area for housing, right? It's right on the lake here. I'm sure that this really floods in the winter. Beechwood Square, very nice. So where would the ore extraction be if we're kind of looking at these features being a major part of it? So I was thinking perhaps it's over on this side, the extraction, and we have the production on this side. I do want to stick with the theme a little bit of keeping the ore in this area. I know I just said I manipulated the resources. I did, but as long as we stick with it in the general area, I'm comfortable with that. So the thing is, though, if we do that, it's going to cause a lot of traffic crossing the highway and stuff like that. Over in here, I don't think I would mind getting too much ore on this side as well. I mean, we have a hill here that's going to really hide a lot of it. So yeah, I think that could work out. We could probably get enough of a town over here and then in this area as well, and that'll be really supportive of the ore industry altogether. But let's get that interchange in. So I think I can remove this now. Let's find the exact location of it, and I kind of have an idea of what I want to do for this interchange. Apparently I can't talk today. I think we're gonna get it right here. So you see how there's an elevated portion and an elevated portion. We're gonna go right over top of the rail line if we build a road right through here. And I think that's probably good. What style of interchange are we gonna go with? Well, if we're gonna think about maybe getting onto this side of the highway anyways, I suspect that just like a basic long diamond interchange will be enough distance, and then it'll also kind of allow us to use this height appropriately. Now, is it going to be an overpass or an underpass? I think I would prefer to do an underpass interchange, but we kind of get away from this whole hill aspect of it. So let's just start off with building the interchange. So let's go down 6 meters, why not? And we'll bring it right across like this. That works. Let's just grab this, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause the game really quickly while we're doing this, and I'm going to upgrade this to an elevated section right through here. So just the 3 pieces right there, and I did 2 for a reason. We'll get back to that. All right, so is that going to be high enough? Probably not. So let's grab, move it. Let's actually make sure we're just grabbing that. And then let's raise it up to an appropriate height. That's probably fine. And then we'll work on rebalancing the heights afterwards. But now let's go back to here. And I want to come back to our height, our normal height, and then we'll go elevated right through here. Elevated, please. Just like that. And then we'll go back to ground level here. And I think that's a good start. This road can come right into Myrtle Hill. And we can probably just end it there for now. And this one over here, it can just end here for now. We can just click it in. Doesn't really matter too much at the moment. Okay, so I do think that this road should be closer together. So we'll just manipulate this really quickly. And we'll bring this over. Just use a bit of movement magic. All right, so we'll just clean this up. All right, we can work on the rest off camera or something like that. So let's connect this up, and I think we'll just use something really simple. You know, I'm thinking just simple right now, and the thing about diamond interchanges is that they're so upgradable. We can upgrade it at any point, really. Okay, so let's go right into here. We'll connect up, and then we'll come right back up. Like that, and then I'll bring it a bit closer. Okay, no, we'll just do it later. And then let's go to about here, bring this one up, and this one bring up to over here. Is that about an equal distance? Yeah, I would say so. But then we'll connect up from the further node. And, you know, I just prefer getting it in, and then we'll use move it to readjust afterwards. So let's just select that. We'll upgrade these little end pieces here to 2. And then we'll just use move it to change it up. Alrighty. I think we should probably leave a bit more room. All right, so now that we know that that height is appropriate, let's re-slope it. So we'll start off with here, and we'll slope it all the way down to here. There we go, and then we'll do the same thing for this side. So a little funny story here. I actually pre-recorded last Fort Prairie's episodes and last Brockton County's episodes at the same time. I haven't played City Skylines in about 3 weeks, so I'm a little bit rusty, to be honest with you. And why did I do that? Well, you know, need a little bit of a vacation. Okay, so let's look at this now. I suppose we should probably look at getting these heights appropriate. So I like grabbing the first node, and we'll bring it back up to the same heights as the height that it left. Ooh, I guess it is. And we'll grab this one. Oh no. There we go. And then we'll just work on there we go. Just kind of readjusting some things. We're going to need to do some node controller as well on here, but this is just the start. Whoops. Yeah. And just tweak this a little bit. All right. You know, I'm really picky with how things look, and I just play around with Move It for too long, and I recognize that. And I also recognize that's probably not the most exciting thing to watch, just playing around with Move It. So I try to not do it too much, but you know, honestly, it's something that I think really improves the look of the city, right? So okay, so let's go over to here. Yeah, there we go. So I want this one on these ends as well. And now we can go back and slope these ramps. Now, this is interesting though, because these are going to be trucks using these. And I suppose we're just going to have to allow a bit of unrealism for this. 2.2% though is pretty good for trucks. What is the threshold? I think it's like 10 is the maximum. 10%? I don't know. Off the top of my head right now, while recording. Okay, so now we're at the ends of here. So what we'll do is we'll grab just a 2-lane road. And why a road? Well, the roads have crosswalks. And we'll just use a 2-lane, no parking road. And we'll just do that. There we go. Okay, so now we'll hop into node controller. And what is node controller going to really do? Well, I think all it really is going to do is just allow us to line these nodes up a little bit better. It's going to clean things up just a little bit, just enough to really make it seem a bit more like a realistic interchange. Okay, so this one is actually a little bit off because the angle of entry here is a little too sharp, or not sharp enough, sorry, I guess. And same thing right here, the exit entry, or the exit point here is a little off, so I'm just gonna try and recenter them, and this one too is a little too sharp, so let's just bring it back. Or not sharp enough? Oh gosh, it's been a little while, folks. Alright, so just looking at the interchange portion itself, ignore the rest of the highway. I think it's pretty good. I do wonder if maybe we should bring this out farther and allow for, whoa, and allow for a bit more of a larger distance between the two. And I do kind of like that idea, to be honest. How does that look? Like a diamond? Like a diamond. It's probably good. Alright, so basically for setting up a road like this, or an interchange like this, what I like doing personally is just to upgrade this middle portion into 4 lanes, because then you get some dedicated turning lanes for here, and then we'll go into traffic manager, wherever that is. I wonder where it is. Usually it's right here, isn't it? Isn't there a hotkey? Keybinds. Okay, I didn't know that that was the hotkey for it. Yeah, where did the item, oh, it's up here. Okay, holy cow. Things have changed around. As you can see, it really has been a little while. Okay, and then there we go, some dedicated turning lanes. And then we're looking at the grade over here next. So, is this tall enough for the rail? It is for sure not tall enough. So I'm gonna try and, you know, not play with the rail too much. So I'm gonna grab this one and this one, and we're gonna raise it up to an appropriate height. It's convenient that we have a train there. It's probably a good height. We can probably go a little bit lower, so I'll just do that. And then what I'll do here is just use that sloping tool, and we'll just slide that right out like that. 2.5% is pretty good. And then we'll bring this one down to about here, 2.7%. That is also pretty good. I suspect that we can actually probably go a little bit better than that. So I'll bring an extra node in right there. Actually just gonna bring this one down a little bit. And this one here, let's just raise up a little bit more. And then we'll do the slope from here to here, less than 1%, that's perfect. And then we'll bring this one down, 3.1. For some reason that seems a bit off, doesn't it? Anyway, so let's slope that node. That'll be helpful. And then we'll slope this one as well. And working on this node right here, let's just expand it out to 15. I'll just swing that down this side as well, and we'll do the same thing on this side. So we're gonna just expand it out to 15 meters. And this one here, we just need to bring down a little bit. All right. And then looks like we have quite the difference in this hill here. So we'll just try and smooth that out with a huge cut apparently. Okay, you can't undo it unfortunately. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to delete it. And what I'll do is I'll just grab this node right here. We'll raise it up to where there's less of a cut. distance, and that's pretty good. I'll slope that down 2%. That's really not too bad at all. And we'll grab Jones Street here, and what I'll do is I'll just bring that back. Click home here, and there we go. That's a pretty good cut. And maybe we can work on things in the future with this road. This road can meander all the way over here if we should we choose. And this one right through here, Myrtle Hill, you can actually probably cut across along this bridge, or maybe we can curve it and bring it over on this side. We'll see. But that is, you know, for future things. And we just need to clear the bridge of trees. I guess the construction workers probably should have done that before they built the road. Yeah, okay, so that's pretty good. Looking nice. We kind of have this option here for starting our ore industry in the future. And then we can also look at getting some older roads through here. I suppose we could look at, you know, I said bridging across here. I don't think that's going to be able to happen. So perhaps the old bridge was somewhere else. Now I do know we've talked about getting a bridge over here before from Prairie Station, which maybe we can look at doing that relatively soon. And what road would that be? I think this is Hamilton Street. Hamilton Street goes right through here. And maybe Hamilton Street, maybe we can delete this little curved portion of Hamilton, and maybe we can bring Hamilton right across, but we're right there in this massive cliff. You know, bridging is been a difficult challenge in this series, to be honest. Finding appropriate locations has been interesting. We could go right alongside here, but where would it really connect up? I guess right in this kind of tunnel here, which wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. Yeah, because I don't think we can get a connection point over on this side because of the cliffs. This is the old fort, and I suppose this would probably be the best location for it, so unfortunately we haven't really allowed ourselves to do that, although we could manipulate here, you know, change that up, and we can get a bridge flowing through here and passing to Sunset Hill. So, you know, that's something we could talk about in the future. Yeah, so lots of talking today. Not too much building other than some grid planning and stuff like that. I suppose we're going to need to upgrade this road now, the rest of it. But let's just zone in the rest of this build really quickly. Let's do that. Don't mind that at all. Yeah, okay. That's probably where we should stop with zoning today. Now, I do think we should fill in some of these awkward grids, though, with some concrete. And yeah, oh, we should definitely get a pedestrian path here. So why don't we actually delete this one? And we'll get just a little quick connection point. Just like that. Let's try to find those little nodes that we just made. I'll bring them right across here. Okay, and then I'll just redo that. And I'll bring this one over. There we go. That works. Okay, so I did remember that to add the post office in, because the post office would be very important. That is a taxi, Stephen, not a post office truck or a post office just in general. It doesn't need to be anything else. And let's get that. Let's get this right here. Okay, so, you know, we're starting to build up this area. What's in store for next episode, folks? Well, I believe we're probably going to, looking at our money situation, we still haven't done enough growth here to really start looking at a massive infrastructure project that's probably going to speed that much money. So we have some industry demand, so I think maybe we'll start the ore industry tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, this works out. You know, I didn't finish off the TMPE through here, which is just, oh, come on. Frozen game. What's new? Everything. Okay, so let's grab this really quickly and do that. Just these lane arrows really really help out with the merging of traffic. And okay, so yeah, so we'll leave that for now. And that should work. We can always add in some lane work as well. So we did this today, set ourselves up pretty nicely for some future expansion. You know, a really simple interchange to start off with, which is easily upgradable should we need to in the future. Should this become like a suburb or something like that. And we also built up this little historic town. So I think this is where we'll end it today, folks. So I'll just kind of zoom in right here on Main Street, and I'll try and center the national park as a major piece of it. I really don't like those buildings though for the screenshot, so I'm going to delete them. Same with that one. And yeah, let's see. National Park is centered right over there. So there we go. Have a lovely day, folks. I'll talk to you on Wednesday back in Fort Prairie. Peace out.